To order the regular agenda meeting of the Biwabik City Council at 5:30 p.m. Can I have roll call, please?
Councilor Burke.
Here.
Lehman.
Here.
Waller.
Here.
Amy. Here. Mayor Biwabik.
Here. We will move right into administrator and staff consultant updates. And as everybody knows from our regular agenda, there's no staff updates, consultant updates. So we will move into administrator.
Yeah, so I can provide some updates. This is all sort of with a caveat, as I think you all know, I was gone the last week and a day. So I got back late last night and the last, I guess, week and a couple of days. I've been catching up on emails, half the day and all of that. So my apologies that this may not be as robust and detailed and all of that as normal.
Yeah, shame on you for that vacation with your family.
Yes, Florida's nice, just saying.
It's too hot.
So we did hold a meeting regarding the garbage service, like the tipping fees and stuff. Sherry and I sat down with with Jamie at the East Mesabi Sanitation. We should have an update and a recommendation in April for different fees and tipping fees for the businesses and all that. And hopefully that is, it probably won't be, for rollout in April. It may be even January next year. But we want to kind of sort all of that stuff out and then and roll it all out. So that should hopefully correct the other financial issue with garbage and put us back in good standing. Again, this year may not be as good because some of this doesn't start until next year, like the county thing. But if we can get it all set up so we're good going forward, that would be great. Mayor and I did meet with Zenith, and I'll just mention it was a positive conversation, and we have a good plan, or at least a high-level sort of next steps and what we're going to do next. And they've already followed up, and we'll be meeting again here, and I guess tomorrow evening. So, the age-friendly grants were all submitted. There's 3 different ones that were submitted. One of them is focused on the road on Main Street and snow removal issues and foliage and too much clutter and how can we help Public Works plow it better and so that these things don't accumulate and get bad. So there's a bit to it, so I'm not going to get into the details, but that's what its focus is. The playground park area is the other focus, some potential improvements over there. There's stumps that need to be ground down and potentially new pathways or ADA accessibility off of that new main path through the middle. But again, it kind of covers a variety of stuff all surrounding that park and playground area. And then a walking assessment was the third one, which I think they just provide a little bit of support for, but you can kind of do that on your own too. But the goal now would be to cover, every potential walking place in this city, document it, photographs, whatever, and then begin to develop a list or, a project plan for addressing the high, level ones and working our way down. So, and that's all just submitting grants, so there's no guarantee or anything like that, but we did get them submitted. So, obviously there was the East Range Joint Powers meeting. The mayor was absent, so I had to run that one, but there wasn't really anything too much to report. It went okay.
You're up on deck for this one too.
And I believe I'm running the next one as well. But again, pretty simple and straightforward there. And then the Day on the Hill was mentioned. So tomorrow evening we're going down to the cities, and then Wednesday during the day we'll be meeting with Day on the Hill and doing all those events. So I'll have my phone, but it won't be in the office all day Wednesday, and we are coming back Wednesday, late in the evening. So, there's that. One of them that came up, I guess, just kind of high level, keep it in your mind for in the future, is that the county is doing some work on updating Land Explorer for more development and developable sites. There's some other communities that have already done it, and the idea is that you can click on a parcel and you can see, this is publicly owned, it's available for whatever, development, sale, whatever may be the case. So I started kind of working with the county on that. They had reached out to us and said, hey, is the city interested in, making a more robust site and all that. So more to come on that. The short-term rental work continues. I did talk with the Department of Health representative to see what their aspect is in any of the potential changes, and that really shouldn't impact them, other than you may get an influx of people that are needing, the approval from the Department of Health once you kind of move on that. And then again, yeah, just working through emails. Oh, the Chris Enquist agreement was finalized with, you know, the attorney Minton's help and has been signed by all parties and everything, so that should be a done deal and all set to go and everything, with all the changes incorporated. And then I guess the last one is, I did figure out a way to put email sign up on the website. Right now it's underneath how do I, when you click sign up, and then it calls for a first, last name, whether or not they're a resident, and then their email address. I can make those even like required forms, like if there was more information we wanted to gather, but in my eyes it's just an email address is really all that we need to add to the list to get packets and other information. I put the resident on there, but I didn't require it because I thought that could be interesting information to see how many residents are requesting council packet information versus non-residents, if they do that. So, so I guess that I think is all I have as far as a high level, I guess, update. So I'll leave it at that. Any questions or anything?
Are there any questions for the administrator?
I have questions. So SCH, about the HVAC bids, do you know what's happening there?
They had hoped they could get it to the March meeting. If not, it was going to be on the April. So the April, there should be a bid package ready for council review and approval to issue the bids. With that, we should have all the timelines, the timeframes when the project completion needs to be done, you know, which should be before it gets cold, so August likely around there. Yeah, they had said they were hoping to get together. That's why we tried to get the February one on there so that we can kind of get the ball moving, but unfortunately they didn't get it to us.
So, and then there wasn't a P&Z meeting this month because you were gone and Chairman Setniker was gone also. So in our packet, we had the information about the business license info is in our packets. I don't know if
Yes.
everybody had a chance to look that over. How do you want the P&Z to move forward, or should we wait for more, or should they wait for more information?
So I wasn't sure if we needed like an agenda item or how, you know, what action may be needed from the council. So I put that in there because with business licenses, and I don't know if the council would prefer P&Z to do legwork or vice versa, but what type of business license, like there's a lot of aspects to it and everything, and I don't know how focused the P&Z wants to be on that right now, or the council, how much you want to make this into a higher priority, I guess. So I put it in there as a, you know, to potentially kind of for this conversation to see what direction, or if it's something that's maybe a little bit of a lower priority and it's just, you know, yes, this is out there, everybody can kind of look into it. Because there's so many different ways to go about it. How do you want to do it? Is it every business? What's the amount? Is it an annual fee? Is it only certain businesses? Is it home-based businesses? Or is it by zone? I guess what is it that the council or the P&Z wants to get out of having business licenses, and then designing an approach from there depending on what exactly you want to do. So it's a long way of saying I don't really have an answer right now, like, because I have not.
The information you put together
Well, you
was,
should run for
the information was really good because it really did cover like all those different things.
Yeah.
And I was just, I wasn't sure because I know that P&Z was looking to the council to get an idea of if you want them to work on it or not. So.
Yeah, you're right, because it was, they didn't want to waste any time if there wasn't strong council direction from the council. So, so I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be an agenda item or motion. You can have a brief discussion if there is, or if the council's not comfortable with that, we could make it a formal item for the next meeting and ask for some sort of formal direction from the council, I guess.
Should be a separate item for April, I think.
Okay, an agenda item for April?
I think, that's just my opinion.
Even if it's just a discussion point, you know, there's
Okay, and
You're the
then,
mayor, but it's just my idea.
no, I think it, like I said, I
It gets more importance if it's a line item on the agenda.
Right. would agree with that.
and then another thing was that P&Z was talking about raising the short-term rental licensing fee from $50 to $100, and that was something else they wanted input from the council on.
Yeah, and the council ultimately will set that, I know, so that they had raised it like that. The short-term rental, every time you start getting into it, there's some other angle or aspect or something to it. So there's like kind of multiple things. I guess in my eyes, the fee is just one piece of it, and I guess I'm more concerned with figuring out like the lodging tax itself, what exactly we're going to do with that, issuing all of those notices, and then considering is R1 and R2 the best way to go about short-term rentals, or should it be anybody that's running a short-term rental wherever you are in the city limits, and then that leads to a ordinance change because it was in the ordinance. So yeah, it's trickling. I guess the $50 to $100 I feel like is going to come because once we do more research and figure out exactly how many there are and is $100 the right amount, I guess I'm not totally sold on that. I think 50 was way too low, but what is the actual right amount that it should be? I think we could likely have more information by the next meeting. But yeah, it's tentacles go off in all different directions when you start getting into the short-term rental stuff. So
That short-term rental piece is such a big ordeal, and of course there's, we have an ordinance set up for the lodging tax, so we'll have to change those kind of things if we go the other direction. It's a very big picture item, but I don't know that the planning commission has any, the council sets fees. The planning commission shouldn't be spending time on debating what fees are what. They should be worried about the ordinance and the fact that it's not all inclusive to commercial properties and everything else. And that's just purely my opinion, but we need to set fees based on ensuring that we cover our costs. If we've got software now for tracking short-term rentals, and this just goes into the whole, how many things are we going to do that we can't enforce? So we should probably be worried more about enforcement than we should be about fees. But our fees should make sure that we're paying the bills on all the time that we're spending on it. So to just arbitrarily raise a fee just to raise a fee with no background doesn't sit well with me. I'd rather we let's focus on getting the problem straightened out, getting it, figure out how we're going to go about it, and then whatever that's going to cost, we charge our fee accordingly.
Okay, I guess they were just looking for direction also, is it,
Yeah.
like, what do you want them to do, more or less?
yeah. Well, maybe you and I should chat before the next P&Z meeting because this could definitely be an item on there. But what is it that they should potentially focus on? Because in my eyes right now, is the ordinance how we want the ordinance to be, and is the lodging tax set up and arranged how we want it to be? And maybe those should be sort of the focus on that board for any recommendations to council.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are the only questions I had on the agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other agenda questions for anybody?
I have one, if I guess.
Yep.
This relates to the check registers, and I'm going to ask this for the next over 2+ years. Is there any checks in here unbudgeted for? Patty made a comment a month or two ago that at the end of the year, everything's over budget, and there was no accountability, so it's time to put accountability. Is there any of these checks from 2/6 and 2/20 that are not in the budget?
Well, the Premier Pyrotechnic one is not, but that gets invoiced back to the Civic Association.
Right, I understand that one.
Yeah, that was just otherwise I have no idea.
Well, I've been on the budget committee for quite a few years, and I'll guarantee that check number 130612 is not in the 2025 nor the 2026 budget.
Oh yeah, the ladder truck repairs. So I don't know the full backstory on all of that. I know that in the fire budget itself, there's about $49,000 that has not been spent for expenditures. Now that's across a variety of buckets. It's not just like equipment.
For what year, Michael?
For 25. For 25. So I know that's a big chunk of the ladder truck repair expenses, but obviously doesn't cover all of it. And then there was the 24-ish or 25,000-ish that was received from the wildland firefighting as an unexpected revenue. And that's not counted in that 49,000. I don't know if you had anything to add or anything.
Just I went through the budget and on some of the categories that we were low, we were like $6K short on the repair. We had like $36K budget just for the repair. Once we took the ladder out, there was a couple cylinders that were leaking. Talked with the mayor and it just made sense. We have the ladder off. Those cylinders had to be repaired together. You can't do one extend. You have to do it as a pair. And that was one of the ones that we didn't know until we got it apart. But we had the vast majority of the painting from the aerial inspection the year prior. That was the big line item. The maintenance and repair of equipment, I think it was around $36K that we had allocated. And then again, there was a couple items when they took it off they found. But we did underspend on some or come in under budget. And when we add all those numbers together, it's like, okay, that's how we're gonna pay for this, because it didn't make sense to put it all back together and then have to take it apart a year or two later. You're spending 10 grand just to take the ladder off. So, but at the end of the day, the 25 budget, with that all considered, should still be really close to on budget. And like I said, between the two Quinn maintenance and repair and EM lines, that should have accounted for the vast majority of the expenditures, which we knew it wasn't unplanned entirely. Just some of it we didn't know until we got into it.
What was the wildland firefighting again? Was it 25,000? The check you guys got for the
There's,
Jenkins Creek or the Princeton Complex?
well, there's a couple of different checks. In total, around 33-ish, 33K, before expenses. So when we factor in wages, fuel, et cetera, I think the total came in around 28-ish and some change.
Does that answer your question, Dan?
If it's budgeted for, I'm good. I don't want Patty in January of 2027 asking, why is everything over budget? Because she'll have backing then, I can guarantee you.
Yeah, again, and just being, full transparent, most of it was budgeted. We had to pull from other categories that were under budget to really comprise the whole thing. But inside the fire budget, not from any other department or anything of that nature. So,
Do we have any idea over the years how much of repairs we put into that vehicle?
like, off the top of my head, no, but I mean, I could put that
Yeah, we
together if
could-
we wanted.
we could get that.
I'm ballpark, including purchase price, we're probably about 250 to 280 into it, with the 125 purchase price.
So you're saying we only put 125 into it since it's been purchased?
No, I'm saying, yeah, like 125, 130-ish, probably.
Okay.
They're both, but I mean, this was a big chunk.
Yeah.
There was another year, I think we put like 25K into it.
Okay.
And then, of course, to your point, throughout the year, there's been you got your pump tests, you got other costs.
Yeah, but that's operational, yeah, I understand. As long as it's in the budget. No, nothing else.
I have nothing.
Yeah, just a reminder for Marco, we gotta have a campground and a
Yes.
cemetery meeting. And I'm looking at the 18th,
Okay.
Brian can do it on the 18th. And Shannon for the cemetery you'd have to call Stacy.
Yes, and I was hoping to do this before I left, and I was like, when I'm trying to set up meetings and I'm gonna be gone for a week, it was like, I'm just gonna wait till I get back. But yes, I have it for sure that we need to.
Yeah, you just confirm it.
Yeah, we'll get going on that. So the 18th is the best day for you?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
Any appointments. But I don't know what time Brian is available.
I am usually in town about 3:20-ish. So,
So 2:30.
yeah, 3:30 would be the best.
Well, let's tentatively plan on that, and then,
And then
Oh.
we could do a half hour before that for the cemetery, because that won't take long. Do you think, Shannon?
yeah, that would be perfect. Okay, we'll talk to the people that we need to and follow up with you and confirm it all.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make note as we get into, from one of the items, oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Gonzalez, you had,
Yes, that's all.
I apologize, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you were. Looking into new business, we have the council, or the local board of appeals and equalization meeting. I will be, Patty is also certified, you gotta have one person that is certified to be at the meeting. I will be in St. Paul for Rams, it's the Rams lobby day that day. So, just so everybody knows that,
What is the day?
the 14th. Yeah, I had originally written down the 4th in my original notes, but I want to make sure that we're going to have, you have to have a quorum, you have to be here for an hour, and in order to maintain the local board versus it going to the county, you have to have at least one person who is certified, and I know Patty and I are certified through at least the end of this year. So,
What, that was April?
April 14th, yeah, it's just later on, I just wanted to let everybody know, make sure, because I don't want to,
I'll be on the way back from Nashville, so we'll see.
oh. I could probably, my intention would be to zoom into that, so. So, yeah, I'll be in St. Paul for a couple days actually from doing that, so. Unfortunately, they don't give us an option, so.
No.
They just tell us when we're doing it. And then, just one point of clarification on, item 11D, the public works summer help hires. What's the hourly rate on that? Somebody asked me to work the other day.
So in the past, we've done 13 an hour if we've hired 3 or 4, and we've hired less than that, we've done some. So I think it just depends on how many we decide to hire,
Okay.
and that's different every year.
I was gonna say, if we're looking at 13 an hour and every other town around here is at 16, 17. I think Aurora's even got their lead summer person at 19 or something like that. Yeah.
I
So,
don't know what we budgeted for it,
I think it was right around 14 total
or is that
for all the summer workers. I
Are those
think.
32-hour weeks?
yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to double check, do the math and all that.
So,
But there's no plan to exceed budget on that, I guess. So anyway, we have budgeted something, so.
so, okay, if there's no other questions on the agenda, I will look for a motion to adjourn the agenda meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Moving seconded to adjourn the agenda meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?